And hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting day. Um, Wanted to get a little something I was working on, let you know what it is, and maybe you can. I'll go over as they said, the who, what, when, where, why crap, and what we'll be doing today. We're going to be doing something similar, and again, I don't want to be stomping on the toes of Mr. David Demos. Um, This is going to be a Stratomatic 8 team. We're going to be basing, as you saw in my preview, it's going to be based on the 8 pennants from the 1980 International League. So we're going to be kind of be spoofing the minor league baseball from 1980, the Eastern Division, which were the Charlestown Charlies, the Pawtucket Red Sox, the Rochester Red Wings, the Syracuse Chiefs, the Columbus Clippers, the Richmond Braves, the Tidewater Tides, and of course the Toledo Clingers or the Toledo Mud Hens. Let me see if I can pull up that baseball page here and I can follow along and kind of give you the same information that I will be using. I thought this would be kind of be an interesting thing to do. What I did is I took I can't try and just say it. I took the 1980 minor league baseball teams, the 8 teams, and their equivalents. So it's the Columbus Clippers, which are the Yankees, the Mud Hens, which are the Twins at this point, the Rochester Red Wings are the Orioles, the Richmond Braves are Atlanta, Charlestown Charlies are the Rangers, Tidewater Tides, of course, are the Mets, the Pawtucket Red Sox are the Red Sox, and the Syracuse Chiefs are the Blue Jays. What I did is I took those 8 teams and then I took the 1980 Stratomatic baseball season. I then had AI decided to give me a randomized draft order, 1 to 8 of these teams. Charlestown Charlies did come in as the number 1 pick, and of course, the number 1 pick in the draft did go to George Brett. And then I did an AI assisted strategy like draft process. You get 4 different draft options. You get either draft for power, draft for on base speed, draft for pitching, defense, or you can have a very basic, balanced draft. So I did all that and came up with 8 different ones, assigned them, and then had the draft 15 batters, 10 pitchers. I only did with the American League because I hopefully will plan to do the same thing with the Western division of the International League. And they're going to have the National League part of the 1980 draft. So, and of course, there's the Pacific Coast League, and if I ever get around to doing that, I'll probably pick another year, or I'll start, or we'll do, maybe we'll do 79 for the Pacific League, and kind of go 79, 81, 83 for national, 80, 82, 84, 86 for the American leagues, for the American League teams. So, or I should say, for the seasons, I should say. So here we go, folks. The who, what, when, why. I can say it. I've been trying to say this collectively. So what we did again, we did the draft process. We're going to play kind of a game season, but we're going to do it a tiny bit differently. We're going to have racks of 4 game series, which will allow each number 1 starter to go against each number 1 starter, each number 2 starter going against each number 2 starter. So there should be a balance of, and so the number 1 and hit the number 4. I mean, that's baseball kind of thing, so that's how it should be. But I figured having a 56 game season would be best here. So it will be the 7 teams times the 8, so it's 56. Um, we'll probably be playing a computer. I was thinking of printing out the cards for them so I can use them and play some cards and dice. We'll see how that goes if I'm able to do so. I've limited time as I used to have. If I play these games, I either playing before work or on Saturday or my other day off. And unfortunately, I can't retire like David did, and now basically can do it. And he does a great job. He's one of the better Stratomatic guys out there. So if anyone's going to do a super demo league, it would be Mr. Demos. But this is going to be my own. I just basically went ahead and created rotations, 1 to 4 man rotations, created lineups. Some teams did quite well in drafting. Some teams had a little less talent as they didn't draft as well. You're probably going to notice that when you see the teams. Some teams did really well at having some platoons. Some teams are going to be roughed up against like left-handed pitching because they just didn't. They had too many starters versus righties, and they just couldn't. And they just don't have a deep enough bench to try to stick them against the lefties. So it's going to be good. I expect this to be, a lot of fun. I think it should be a lot of good stuff regarding it. Let's go ahead and see who is here right now. Let's see, have one person in, hit one person. That's cool. So let's go over some of the teams that we do have and what their strengths are, what their team offense will look like. For the Charleston Charlies, yes, they are. They did get the number 1 pick in the draft. Then it was a snake draft the rest of the way. So yeah, you got the number 1 pick, but then you had to wait all the way back to get your next pick back. Their rotation is going to be their 4 man rotation is going to be Jim Palmer, Floyd Bannister, Gaylord Perry, and Frank Tanana. So not bad. Out of the bullpen will be Tippy Martinez, Paul Mitchell. They kind of had to pick him up in free agency. Dan Quisenberry is going to be the team's closer. Now, what I did see, I did leave the Stratomatic trade guy on, and first thing I did is I pulled up a manual game, and a trade was made on opening day. So it was Hal McRae was traded, I believe, to Richmond of the Braves for Steve Kemp as he went to Syracuse. And I looked, made the changes, and both teams could use him. So I think Kemp was getting wasted where he was at, so he gets to start a little more DHs more. That's a strong outfield in Syracuse, and how McRae kind of gets involved there as a starting DH where he's going too. So both guys. So that was kind of a smart trade. Sometimes the computer doesn't do so well. The offense on this team. Let's see if I made that. Let's see if the computer decide. No, you know what? I may have to make a change here because I am concerned why I still don't get who's in left field. Oh, it's Lascano. Yeah, I can't leave Willie out of the lineup. So yeah, no. I'm gonna make that trade now. So Willie Wilson will come into the lineup. He will bump Wills out of that spot in the lineup, especially that season. He had almost 700 plate appearances. And now that team is going to be Willie Wilson. This team must have been based a lot on speed. Willie Wilson, Bump Wills, Mickey Rivers, Mr. Brett, Tony Perez, who had a great year versus lefties that year, Richie Hebner, Dwight Evans, Carlton Fisk, and Alfredo Griffiths. They had a lot of 2 or 3 Red Sox come out of here to play for Charleston along with Mr. Brett. Outfield, the bench looks like Lascano, Howell, Allenson, Bannister, Buck Martinez, and Rupert Jones. Let me see what I want to do with this lineup versus a lefty and see if I want to make any alterations in the process. Probably move Mickey down in the lineup there. So why don't we do that? Gotta see how that lineup's gonna look. So yeah, get Wilson in the lineup, and I want him in the lineup actually versus lefties also. They have Rupert Jones from the Yankees getting a full starting gig. I don't like that either. So Mickey will again come in the lineup and start. With Willie Wilson will come in and get started. I'll put Rivers this time in the lineup. Maybe that's what I should have done. So I'll move Wills down there, and that's going to be Wilson, Rivers, Brett. So that's a fairly good lineup versus righties, but they don't have a lot of power versus right-handed pitching. So with Evans and Perez and Fisk leaning more toward the lefties. Again, that's what happens when you draft. If you don't draft carefully, you may find some holes and lanes. The opponent's pitchers may be able to pitch around you guys. So Brett could get pitched around big time versus righties. So he's gonna have to hit his weight, or that, you can see him struggle in a draft process like this. So let's look at the Columbus Clippers. See who they feature. Their starting rotation is going to be Moose Haas. Not a great starting rotation. I think they did pick last in the opening round. Was Haas, McGregor, Honeycutt, and Mark Clear should not be a starter. Boy, I almost pooped the bed on that one. Why did I do that one so fast? I let's see, who was there? Probably Gale, huh? So Gale. So they'll do that, and let me change my starting pitching rotation. So I got them settled back. So it's Haas, McGregor, Honeycutt, and Gale. So kind of weak. It's Schatzeder and Clear in the bullpen, and Gossage is their closer. So for the Yankees is Gossage. That's apropos. Columbus on the offensive side is going to be Ricky Henderson on Columbus. So the one on the second year of Ricky. Then it's Cowens, Trammell, Parrish, a lot of Tigers. Then you got Renicky, Bhakti, Summers, Brookins, and Stapleton. Not a lot of household names. So again, they will be, if their team blends well together, they could, have a chance at playing well. And then the Pawtucket. They were not known as the Paw Sox yet. They were known as the Pawtucket Red Sox in 1980. So let's look at their rotation. Steve Stone, Mike Flanagan, Dave Steve, John Matlack. So a very solid staff. Hassler and Victor Cruz out of the bullpen. Aurelio Lopez is the closer. They didn't have one super closers on this team, so they may go closer by committee in some ways. The Red Sox lineup, I guess. Miguel Delaney, who I want in this lineup. Always loved the 1980 card. They got some platoon options. It's Delaney, Randolph, Cooper, Zisk, Lansford, Orta, Lemon, Dempsey, and Dent. And then on the bench, they have Graham, who solidly hits righties well. Morrison. Then they did get Yastrzemski, which was kind of funny. Squires, Manning, and Belanger. And Yaz does play against righties because he powers up. But this team absolutely loves right-handed pitching. So we'll see what a lefty does to them, or if you can turn them around late in the game and see what they do. Richmond, on the other hand, again with a half season, a demos type league. Again, we're doing Langford, Caldwell, Jenkins, and Splurdorf. They will be one of the feature games. We play this one today. It will be Richmond, I believe, taking on Rochester. So they do the starters of Langford, Caldwell, Jenkins, Splurdorf, Garvin, and Stewart in the bullpen, and Jeff Jones your closer. So again, not a household name as your closer. So we'll see if that affects them otherwise. Richmond's offense is UL Washington, Hargrove, Soderholm, Jackson, Otis, Landro, McCray, the newbie, Bo Diaz, and Rob Wilfong. They have Buddy Bell on the bench, but he is a 3R versus right-handed pitching, and Eric Soderholm's a 5L versus lefties. So good platoon there, even though Bell probably has a really strong card both ways. But Soderholm, I think, will be a little more useful in killing lefties. Hassie, Walkenfuss, Garcia, that's from the Damasco Garcia, and Oscar Gamble and a 9R, but he only had 194 at bats. So he'll be useful. He probably get some pinch hits, won't try to abuse him as a DH. And Tom Pachorik, who was starting before the McCray deal. Against the righties, they do start Bell, so they get a lot better there. This is where Reggie can power up a little more. Hal McCray, again, is your DH here. Deep lineup. I mean, you go Wilfong, who's good against righties. Otis, good against righties. Hargrove, solid. Bell is solid. Then you got Reggie. And then you add Hal McCray to the mix. So very good Richmond type lineup. Rochester Red Wings. The Rochester Red Wings, let's kind of look at their team a little bit and see what they had to bring. Mike Norris, one of the more solid, awesome starters from the 1980 set. We'll talk more about him when we get to the game. Len Barker, Ron Guidry, and Dan Petrie. Their bullpen will be Sid Manji and Bill Castro, and a great Doug Corbett is on the mound. So they're going to have some. They built their team around pitching, so if they're going to beat you, that will be one of their strengths. Offensively, Dwayne Murphy, John Wathen behind the plate. Looking at who their catchers are, not a good bench. Ken Singleton, Joe Charbonneau, Al Woods, Robin Yount, Jason Thompson, Greg Nettles, Frank White. Again, you got 3 or 4 guys who are going to love right-handed pitching. Again, it's Murphy, Yount, Singleton, Charbonneau, Thompson, Wathen, Nettles, Brown, Bobby Brown versus lefties, and Frank White. Again, it's anybody on there you like to see. No, they're pretty good. Al Woods is a lefty who smashes lefties, so that'll be a kind of a position how to get him in the lineup if possible. But again, you're a four defensively, and he is going to start versus lefties as the 4. Yeah, when you have Joe Charbonneau as a DH, you're kind of stuck a little bit. That's where you may want to trade for a better bat, but look at Al Woods. Probably that season, he probably hit lefties a lot. He was an 844 OPS, 16 or 15 homers. So he will be, he'll have to probably definitely play a lot better than his card says. Of that 4 may come back and bite him. And especially in this league, you don't want to have anything like a 4 as your base defense. So let's look at your Syracuse team. Syracuse Chiefs. They, of course, took away that probably from the Cleveland Indians fiasco and stuff. They've changed theirs. Gura, kind of a Kansas City lineup. Gura, Leonard, Doc Medich, and Darrell Jackson from the Twins. Lacey and Huff, and Tim Stoddard is your closer. Let's look at the offense for the Chiefs and see who they have. Who they have here: Al Bunbury, John Castino. Ooh, Freddie Patek? No, I don't think he should be starting versus a lefty. Let's see. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Yeah, let's move Armas up to 3rd, and Mayberry probably up to 4th. Yeah, I'm gonna flip these things around. Watson will move 6th. Then I can keep Oliver 6th. So that's why sometimes just gotta look over things and make decisions. There you go. So it's Bunbury, Castino, Armas, Mayberry, Watson, Oliver, Sundberg, Dower, and Patek. And then versus righties, Watson again, not in the league, but Steve Kemp. Let's see where Mr. Kemp goes. Mr. Kemp. Oh, this is Mr. Kemp's team. So he's your DH. So Bob Watson again, kind of sitting on the outside looking in. I have Mayberry against righties, and let's see, and Mayberry. So Mayberry versus lefties. Ooh, you know what? Oh no, this is what team was? There's Watson. He's my DH. They're both in the lineup. That's fine. Oh yeah, Mayberry's a 2E10. So I'll take the defense and where he's not going to smash lefties as much. Yeah, this team will have a little bit of issues versus the left-handers, like I've said. Let's look at Tidewater and see what Tidewater brings us. And see who their pitchers are. So for Tidewater Tide, Tommy John, Britt Burns, Steve McCaddy, and Glenn Abbott. Jerry Augustine and Danny Darwin are lefty righty in the bullpen. Tom Bergmeyer is your closer. Good card. So I think that's kind of a very solid. And let's see who the Tidewater Tides offense will then be based around. Rod Carew, good offense. Carew, Hara, Mulder, Ogilvy. They got a bunch of Brewers. Gorman Thomas, Otto Velez, Roy Smalley, Clint Hurdle, and Butch Waniger. From the right side, they go Carew, Hara, Ogilvy, Otto Velez, who hits righties better. It's good DH. Johnny Grubb, Gorman Thomas, Roy Smalley, Mauldner, and Waniger. This is the year Mauldner really beefed up versus lefties, not much versus righties, who kind of have to hide him in there. On the bench, they got a young Lou Whitaker, but not much offense. A lot of these teams, you don't have beyond your starters. You're not going to have. You're smart enough. You need drafted a couple guys late with a good bench piece. Otherwise, you got some and injuries will be just based on. I mean, I could do if I can turn the full time injuries on and play like a disabled list, and kind of what Dave does too. Again, I love his concepts. That's why I enjoy it. Let's look at the lineup first of all for Toledo, the Maxwell Clingers team. Uh, so this is I think more Boston. Burleson, Lynn. Oof, I never looked at this team yet, honestly, and boy, they look good from the start. So Burleson, Lynn, Murray, Rice. Good lord, Money, DeCince, Cerrone, Bunnell, Gritch. Oof, Toledo will be monster. They look awesome on offense and they got enough on the L's and the R's, that's for sure. John Lowenstein. So an Eddie Murray favorite, John Lowenstein. Let's see if there's anybody else who can DH versus righty. Rick Miller could possibly do that. 'Cause I hate to see Lowenstein's 100 and whatever he was, 196 at bat start. That's kind of fishy there. Cerrone's probably going to play every day. Remy 230 at bats. Disco Dan Ford. Now, this is a bench they did take their time with and did it quite well. Lynn's in center. Geez, Barry Bonnell, full year. Yeah, this will be probably one of the more favorite teams. We'll lead off with Miller versus righties as a DH. Then it's Miller, then it's Gritch, Murray, Rice and Lynn on the same team. So the Maxwell Q Klinger team will be fairly strong. Let's see who they got in their rotation. I never did look at the lineup. I guess I just put their starters together. It was Keogh, Clancy, Morris, and Kuzman. Then it was Heverlow and Davis in the pen, and Ed Farmer is your reliever. Starters, not juicy, but their offense is going to make people stand up and take notice. I can tell you that right now. So those are your 8 teams. Again, 4 game series. Unfortunately, like David said, unable to really get the rest I wanted between teams. So we'll just try not to abuse your starters. So the 4 game, so try not to do more than the back to back kind of things. To do the bullpen usage, like they say in baseball. So 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 you want to kind of be careful in what they do. Stratomatic Network, how you doing, my friend? Welcome in. Thank you for popping in and being a part of the program. Let's get a game going here. Opening day of this ensemble here, and let's see if we can get some baseball going. Again, this is the 1980 International League. So they were called that International League, 1980 International League of Minor League Baseball. So it's called the Stratomatic International League. Let me show you the logo that I decided to use. Let's see if I can do that comfortably without losing my mind. Let's see if I can do that. How can I put that in there without going away? Let's see. Do I keep the screen going? If I go to screen 2, let's see. How do I? Can I show you my? Maybe I can add. Maybe I can add. I can add an image file. Give me a second. I'll kind of show it to you over the screen, then I'll go ahead and take it away real quick. And then you guys will see my logo that I'm kind of using here. Let's see, Stratomatic. There we go. Throw it over the screen real quick. There it is. So that is the logo for the league. It's the Stratomatic International League version 1980. So if I ever can finish something like this, I probably will jump to the next season for that, and again keep to the American League on this. And the National League would use the Western team where the Western teams are. There's another 8 teams in the West for them too. So, but I'll take that away so you don't have to look at it anymore. But I'm showing you what I did for a logo for that. Again, my pull out cards and dice may do that also. Play the games also that way. If I can get everything set up, I will be doing that. This depends how fast and quickly we can do that. So let's go ahead and play some baseball. So let's go ahead and do a scheduled game. Here we go. So it's going to be the Richmond Braves, and it will be the Rochester Red Wings. So Rick Langford against Mike Norris. No more trades, thankfully. I was kind of surprised I left my auto trade guy on, and he already made the deal opening day of the season. I was like, "Hey, I didn't ask you to do that." And he said, "I don't care what you say." So the owners were busy on day one. So lineups will be Wilfong, Otis, Hargrove, Hall, Jackson, McCray, Washington, Landreau, and Hassey. That is with pitching is Rick Langford for the Rochester Red Wings. Again, Mike Norris. It'll be Murphy, Yount, Singleton, Charbonneau, Thompson, Wathen, Nettles, Brown, and White. So let's play ball. And this one should take place probably at Memorial Stadium, home of the Birds. That is usually where games are usually will play at. And yeah, that is a weirder version of Baltimore. Not a super huge fan of that. I don't think I can change that any. And let's again make sure we're watching here everything we're doing. Let's put my live stream on. All right, folks, let's play ball. Let's see how fast we can do this. Gonna straight play this on the regular computer. It's going to be Richmond and Rochester. So the Richmond Virginias and the Rochesters of New York. So leading off will be Rod Wilfong. Wilfong again played for the Minnesota Twins. On the mound is Norris. We talked about him. He's 22-9, 2.53 ERA. He was a 5L. The card is absolutely stupendous versus lefties. Very tough to hit. Righties, he can get smacked around. So if you can match your lineup, put some righties in on him, you can hit. But this team of Richmond has one, two, three, four, five, six possibly lefties. This could be a Mike Norris controlled team. He could probably dominate this. And we will use ballparks for singles and home runs playing in the American League, playing of the ballpark of their representative teams. So this will be considerably Memorial Stadium in New York, I guess, where the singles in 1980 were in 1-9 for lefties, 1-3 for the singles, and it's 1-8 home runs versus lefties, and a big righties 1-17. So definitely home run ballpark was Memorial Stadium back in the day versus left-handed pitching versus right-handed hitters. So Norris ready, Rod Wilfong ready, and let's do this. The Stratomatic International League is going on. First pitch, and that's going to be a pop the first. Jason Thompson with the catch, and there's one away. We're underway. The first pitch is thrown out, sent to the Hall of Fame, and we're done. Rochester, I will take control of. And here is Amos Otis. So Amos Otis, always good. 251 hitter, 10 home runs, 53 RBIs. Better hitter versus righties. Norris looks in, gets the sign, and here's the first pitch to AO. And that's a walk to Otis. So Otis is on. Norris is a 0. +1 for John Wathen. So it'll only be a -1 on the hold. So Otis can probably run. Norris looks in. Here is Mike Hargrove taking 10 minutes to get in the box. 304 hitter, 11 home runs, 85 ribbies. Norris from the stretch, and here's the pitch. That's going to be a walk to Hargrove. So the Richmond Braves got 2 men on and 1 man out. Here's the third baseman, Buddy Bell. .329 hitter, third baseman, very good player. Necro Norris from the stretch. This is where he's got to be careful. Bell with a lot of power, ballpark power on his card. Norris from the stretch and the pitch. This will be a ground ball to short. Out to second. The first double play ends the first inning. It is Richmond nothing and Rochester nothing. So now for the Rochester Red Wings, it's Murphy, Yount, Singleton, Charbonneau, Thompson, Wathen, Nettles, Brown, and White. And we have a pair of Oakland Athletic pitchers who Billy Martin absolutely destroyed these guys in this season. So Langford, 290 innings pitched, 19 and 12, 3.26 ERA. So Langford looks in. Dwayne Murphy, one of the cornerstones of that A's offense. Langford with the pitch to Murphy. And that is going to be a line drive caught by Hargrove one away. And here's Robin Yount. Good solid ball player, great power versus righties. Holy cow, 110, 11, 12 is ballpark power. So Yount steps in, Langford looks in. Here is the pitch. This is going to be a pop to short. Washington there, 2 outs. And here is Kenny Singleton, 304 hitter, 24 homers, 104 RBIs. Langford looks in, and the pitch. Singleton ground ball the pitcher back to first, gets him 1-2-3 inning here in Rochester. Richmond nothing and the Red Wings nothing. Here is Reginald Martinez Jackson, followed by the new trade Hal McRae and UL Washington taking on Mike Norris. So Norris looks in, and the pitch to Jackson. That will be a ground ball to the first baseman. That is Thompson. He'll get it, gets it to the bag, and makes the nice play. So Jackson's retired, 1 out. And now here's Hal McRae came over in that trade with Syracuse. Norris looks in. McRae, a 297 hitter, 14 home runs, mostly a DH. Norris with the windup and the pitch. This will be fly ball to center. Murphy scoots, makes the catch, and there's 2 outs. And now here is UL Washington, 273 and 6 home runs, 53 ribbies. Norris looks in, and the windup pitch to UL Washington. And that's going to be in the gap. That'll be for extra bases. Murphy will go get it. Washington at second with a stand-up double with 2 outs. Back to Ken Landreau, who was given the starting assignment after the move on this team. So Landreau comes in, left fielder, 281 hitter, 7 home runs, 62 RBIs with 11 triples. So Norris from the stretch. Landreau, here is the pitch from Mike Norris. And that's going to be a fly ball to center. That is Dwayne Murphy. You need a good center fielder, and you got it for the play. Sides retired. UL Washington in his toothpick is held at second. We go to the bottom of the second. Richmond nothing, Rochester nothing. Let's go ahead and keep things going here. Again, this was a 1980 mixed draft. Did a little bit of chicanery. Again, I had AI create the draft, eight draft guys, and then we did the serpentine draft, and then also had AI do for me the the draft strategy. So they kind of weren't just balanced all the time. They kind of picked at what they thought they wanted their team's strengths to be, and then had them generate basically a 56 game schedule with the 4 game set. So here is Joe Charbonneau, one of one-time wonders. Should be a good solid hitter here. So here's Langford looking in. He gets the sign and the pitch to Joe. That will be a liner base hit for Charbonneau. That's going to the wall. It is chain link sit. Charbonneau with a double, and he's on. So Charbonneau leads it off with a double. Now here's Jason Thompson, a 288 hitter, 21 homer, 90 RBIs. Always a solid first baseman with the Pirates and Angels. Langford from the stretch. Could be a tough outing. Here it is, and the pitch. And that's going to be a fly ball to right field. Who is out there? That's Reggie's 4. Ooh, not a great defense. Reggie's going to let it go over his head. It's down the line. So a double for Thompson. 1 run scores. And the Red Wings take a 1-0 lead. So Jason Thompson doubles down the line. Jackson unable to come up with it cleanly. And it's 1-0 Rochester. So here's John Wathen. Langford from the stretch and the pitch. The Duke. and that's going to be a liner, and it's caught by Washington. So ballpark single was snuffed out. Here is Greg Nettles. Finally returned back to Yankee Stadium as an old timer. 16 homers, 45 ribbies. Langford from the stretch, runner on second, one out, pitch to Nettles, and that's a ground ball to second. Wilfong will throw to first. Thompson will go to third. Two out, runner on third for Bobby Brown. Remember that name? Not the guy, not the long time played for the Yankees, but this is the guy who came up in around 80, had a good solid season, 14 homers, 47 RBIs. Langford from the stretch, runner on third and two out, and the pitch. Base hit for Bobby Brown. Runner scores and Rochester leads 2-0. So now here's Frank White, the batter. Always a solid second baseman. Great. Has good speed. Has great defense. 264, 7 home runs. Langford from the stretch and the pitch to White. And that's going to be a ground ball to short. Picked up by UL. Got him. Throws him out. And we played 2. Rochester 2. Richmond nothing. So Ron Hassey will bat, followed by Wilfong and Otis. Mike Norris, 2 solid innings, has only given up 1 hit. Norris with the windup and pitch to Ron Hassey. And Hassey ground ball back to Norris, throws him out, and there's 1 away. And we're back to the top of the lineup for Rod Wilfong. Popped up his first time up. Norris looks in, and the windup to Wilfong. And that's a ground ball to second. White with the play, 2 outs, and here is Amos Otis. So Norris looks in, 2 up, 2 down the inning. Here's the pitch to Otis. Otis struck him out. Big strikeout for Mike Norris. He's giving you 3 strong innings. 2-0 Rochester goes to the bottom of the third. So 2-0 Rochester, bottom of the third. All right. And here's Dwayne Murphy's 0 for 1. Langford looks in, gets the sign, and the pitch to Murphy. And that's going to be a ground ball to first. Hargrove gets it to the bag, 1 away. And here's Robin Yount. 0 for 1. Langford looks in, gets the sign. Here's the pitch to Yount. And that's going to struck him out, 2 outs. Here is Ken Singleton, 0 for 1. Langford looks in, gets the sign. The pitch to Kenny Singleton. Drive ball to left field. Landreau is there, makes the catch, and we played 3, 2-0 Rochester. So here we Hargrove, Bell, and Jackson here in the fourth. Norris looks in, top of the fourth, 2-0 Rochester. Norris with a sign and pitch to Mike Hargrove. That will be a walk to Hargrove. That is Norris's 3rd walk of the ball game, and here's Buddy Bell. But Bell is 0 for 1. Norris looks in from the stretch. Hargrove at it first. Here's the pitch. This will be a line drive base hit for Bell. Again, righties hit Norris a lot better. So it's first and third, nobody out. And here come the Braves. So it's 2-0 Rochester in the fourth for Reginald Martinez Jackson. 0 for 1, grounded out his first time up. Wathen puts down the sign. Norris from the stretch in the pitch. That will be a line drive. No, ballpark single denied. Great play by Frank White, 1 out. So with 1 out, here is Hal McRae. Matt wants to put his new team on his back here. Norris from the stretch, first and third, 1 out, and the pitch, and they do it. Let's say it almost hits Hal McRae, goes all the way back to the screen. Hargrove comes home on the wild pitch. It is now 2-1. So a Mike Norris wild pitch. It's 2-1, and McRae still has a runner in scoring position. Norris from the stretch and the pitch to McRae. And that's a deep drive. Oh, what a play by Bobby Brown. Takes it back in and throws it in. Holy web gem. That will make this weekend baseball. Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. That will be probably the Gillette play of the game. What a play, Bobby Brown. Takes it and brings it back. A 1-17 home run. McRae denied as a new member of this Richmond team, and brings it back in. What a play. Now here's UL Washington. Norris from the stretch in the pitch. This will be a fly ball left field. Bobby Brown, does he give it and take it? No, he makes the catch and sides retire. But Bobby Brown makes probably the play of the year, game 1 opening day. We go to the bottom of the fourth. It's 2-1 Rochester. Oh, how McRae couldn't believe his eyes. What a catch. And again, you'll see that on Twib Notes next week, says Mel Allen. Holy cow. 1-17 was a bomb, and Bobby Brown brought it back. So now here's Joe Charbonneau, followed by Thompson and Watson. Bottom four, 2-1 Red Wings. Langford on the mound. Here is the pitch to Charbonneau. Charbonneau hits a drive to left center field. That's going to go. Otis back, way back, looks up and gone. So Joe Charbonneau likes the new league. 2 hits, 2 extra base hits, and now has 6 total bases. So Charbonneau goes goodbye, baseball. Going, gone, goodbye. 3-1 Rochester. So now Thompson, the batter. Langford looks in. Here's the pitch to Jason Thompson, and he walks. So Langford now a little struggling here in the fourth. They gave him a lead. They gave him a run back, and all of a sudden he's getting up a long ball to Charbonneau and a walk to Thompson. So now here's John Wathan. Langford from the stretch. Pitch to Wathan. That'll be a walk to Wathan. So Langford has lost the plate early on in the fourth. And here's Greg Nettles, who's 0 for 1. Langford from the stretch. First and second, nobody out. And the pitch. This will be line deep drive right center field. That's going to be trouble. Otis plays it off the wall. Here comes Thompson. He will score. Wathan's a 1-10. He'll hold, and it is a 5-1 ball game favor of Rochester. So Rochester jumps on top 5-1, scores the run. Oh, I put Rochester as a computer. Oops. Richmond should be. So 5-1 Rochester and a big lead here. So Rick Langford now, runner on second, nobody out. Rochester's opened up the scoring here. Now here's Bobby Brown, made the key defensive play of the year. Here's Bobby, and Bobby Brown strikes out, and there's one away. First out of the ball game. Boy, what a long fourth inning here. Langford from the stretch. Here's a pitch to Frank White. White fouled out to the catcher. 2 outs. Here's Murphy. Murphy's 0 for 2, lined out and grounded out. Langford from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Murphy, and that's going to be a ground ball to second. Nice play. Throws him outside. He's retired. So Rob Wilfong, a nice play. Rochester scores 3. 5-1 Rochester. We go to the fifth. So Mike Norris given a 4-run lead here in the fifth. It'll be Landreau, Hassey, and Wilfong to lead off the Richmond fifth inning. Here's Landreau 0 for 1. Norris looks in, and the windup to Kenny Landreau. Landreau ground ball to second. White with a nice play and throws him out. Here's Ron Hassey with one away. Norris from the stretch, and the windup to Ron Hassey. Hassey line drive base hit. Singleton picks it up, throws it back in, and Richmond has a chance here to see if they can get back in it. Here's Wilfong. He's 0 for 2 hitter. Norris from the stretch. Hassey does not get much of a lead. He's not being held on. Thompson playing off the bag. Here's the pitch, and that's going to ground ball to second. Goes to short. That's all they're going to get. Wilfong will beat the relay, and there's 2 outs. So here's Otis. Has walked in, struck out. Norris from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Amos Otis. And that's he strikes out, and that will do it. So he'll be out to the limit of the game. So they will go to Kenny Landreau now in center. John Walkenfuss. Holy cow. This is where injuries devastate you. They now have all the fours out in the outfield. Oh my goodness. They could not do anything. Nope. That's where these league will bust you. You can't have longer injuries because you'll have all these fours. Walkenfuss a 4E5, Landreau a 4E9, Jackson was out there anyway, cementing himself as a 4E13. So this will be a problem the rest of the game for Richmond. So I'm going to keep it as a day injuries. I can't imagine doing full injuries and not having a bench to pull from. You may have to drop one of your guys to get maybe somebody who can actually play the outfield to avoid a huge injury, because this is going to be just ungodly. So we'll have to relook at that aspect. It's already on only game only. I was going to switch it to a regular disabled list, but can you imagine having play this defense for the entire game? It would just be ugly. So Langford looks in. It's 5-1. Here's the pitch to Yount, and that's going to be deep. That's gone. Yount sends it deep. Gone, goodbye. Robin Yount, ballpark blast. And Rochester now takes a 6-1 lead in the fifth. So Rochester running away with things here. Red Wings home opener as the fans go wild here. And we have looks like a crowd of about 31,000 here. Again, we have veteran umpiring crew from the past. Ken Singleton is 0 for 2. Hassey puts down the sign. Langford with the pitch. And that's going to be a ground ball to a pitcher. Hargrove takes it to the bag one away. And here's Charbonneau, doubled and homered himself already. Langford from the windup. Here's the pitch to Charbonneau. And that's a ground ball. The second, that's picked up. Throws him out. Good play by Wilfong. 2 outs. Here's Jason Thompson, has doubled and walked, has driven a run. Rankford with the pitch to Jason Thompson. Thompson, ground ball the second. Nice play by Wilfong. Throws them out. Rochester adds a run. We played 5. It's 6-1 Rochester. We head to the 6th. So 6th inning we're playing here. So still kind of gunning through. Here is Hargrove, Bell, and Jackson. Hargrove taking his time getting in the box, has walked twice. Mike Norris now the 5-run lead. Norris looks in, and the windup to Hargrove. Now be a ground ball to second. White throws him out, 1 away. Here's Buddy Bell, 1 for 2. Norris looks in, gets the sign. Here's the pitch to Bell. Bell hits a drive. That's gone. This time it'll go. Bobby Brown looks up, going, gone, goodbye. So Buddy Bell, again, this ballpark very advantageous to right-handed swingers. It is now a 6-2 ball game. So Bell goes going, gone, goodbye. Here's Reggie. He's 0 for 2, a ground out and a line out. Norris looks in, and the sign to Reggie. Reggie, fine ball the second. Frank White getting a lot of work, throws him out, 2 outs. Here's Hal McRae, 0 for 2. Norris looks in, and the sign. Here's the pitch to McRae. That's a ground ball to first. Tough play for Thompson. Can he get it? Gets it to the bag. Nicely done for Jason Thompson. He feeds Mike Norris, and the side is retired. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 6-2 Rochester here. 1980 International League, where we drafted a 1980 Stratomatic class and dumped them onto these 8 Eastern Division international teams from International League teams from the minor league baseball of 1980. That's why you're seeing teams like Richmond and Rochester. So Langford looks in, and this is going to be, again, a 56-game season with 4-game series. Again, that allows the 1, 2, 3, and 4 starters to pitch against 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, that's not baseball. You get the great pitchers versus the number 4, 5 starters. This is not going to be. You're going to get ones versus ones. So you'll see the top versus the top, the weak versus the weak. So again, we'll show you the top game here, which is the Langford and Norris matchup. And then we'll go from there, probably play the rest, and then give you another opening day matchup also coming down the road. But it's 6-2 Rochester, bottom to 6th. Langford looks in. Here's the pitch to Johnny Wathen. And that's a pop to short. Washington is there. There's 1 away. Here's Nettles. He's 1 for 2, a double. Langford looks in, and the sign pitch to Greg. Greg, fly ball to right. Jackson there makes the catch, 2 outs. Here's Bobby Brown, 1 for 2 with an RBI. Langford with the windup and pitch. That will be struck him out. So Rick Langford gives 6 innings to the Richmond Braves. It's 6-2 Rochester going to the 7th. So UL Washington, the batter, a 4-run lead. Mike Norris still out there, 284 innings. He's one guy who can give you 9. Norris looks in, and the pitch to UL. That will be a strikeout for Norris, 1 away. Here's Landreau. Norris looks in, and the pitch to Landreau. Landreau is 0 for 2. That's going to be a pop to first. Thompson there, 2 outs. And here's Ron Hassey. Hassey's 1 for 2 so far. Norris looks in, and the pitch to Ron Hassey. Ron Hassey, ground ball to first. Thompson to the bag, and we go to the 7th inning stretch. It's Rochester 6 and Richmond 2. So 6 runs on 6 hits for Rochester, 2 runs on 4 hits for the Richmond Braves. So Rick Langford comes out, pitches the home against the home 7th. It'll be White, Murphy, and Yount. Langford looks in, gets the sign, the pitch to Frank White. That will be a ground ball to third. Bell got it, throws it across the diamond, one out in the seventh. And here's Murph. Murph 0 for 3 so far, line out and a couple ground outs. Langford looks in, gets the sign, and the pitch to Murphy. Murphy is a line drive. Cole, two away. Good God, line drive there. That could have been like a ballpark single attempt that was thwarted. And now here's robbing you out, 1 for 3. Big solo home run back in the fifth inning. Langford trying again. Langford's one of those 207, 290 inning pitchers, too. He'll probably give up 6 innings and a complete game loss. Langford with the pitch to Yount. And that's going to be a ground ball to third. Bell gets it, throws him out. We played 7. It's 6-2 Rochester going to the eighth. So Mike Norris going right through this lineup like we talked about. A lot of lefties. And Norris was an extreme reverse split this season and doesn't give much at all to the lefties. So Norris now, let's see who they have now. We're in the eighth inning. Let's see if Richmond has anything else who can play second base. You know what? Damasco Garcia will come in. He'll swing. Again, he'll switch Mike Norris around, giving him better chances. He can also run. We'll see if he'll be a starter versus righties, maybe. Well, Wilfong probably doesn't hit lefties, so kind of he's in there for this situation to get the extreme matchup. So Norris looks in, and the sign, the pitch to the Moscow Garcia. Ground ball to third, picked up by Nettles. Got it. Oh, threw it in the dirt. Thompson unable to get it, and that's an E5 on Greg. So Nettles normally doesn't make those errors, and there's one out. So leadoff man on here in the eighth. Now the question is, with absolutely nobody playing the outfield, you can't take your best guy. Well, they got Pachorik, who's a 485, and Gambles. They got guys who can do it, but do you dare do it? So, yeah, both those guys are stronger versus righties. Walkenfuss has a little more on base, so Walkenfuss will swing. So Walkenfuss will come in with that extreme batting stance. Norris from the stretch, runner on first, nobody out, and the pitch. That's going to be a ground ball double play. Oh my. Yeah, to second, the first double play. So Mike Norris induces a huge double play. Here is Mike Hargrove. 2 walks and a ground out. He'll take about 10 minutes to get in the box. Norris looks in, and here's a sign from Wathen, the Duke, and the pitch. And that is going to be a fly ball to center. Murphy is there, makes the catch, and Mike Norris has given 8 innings of work to this Rochester team. It's 6-2 Rochester. We go to the bottom of the eighth, and it'll be Nettles, Charbonneau, and Thompson against Rick Langford, who looks to finish it and go an 8-inning complete game. Langford looks in, gets the sign from Ron Hassey. Here's the pitch to Singleton. That will be a liner caught by Damasco Garcia, one out. Here is Joe Charbonneau, Jolton Joe, double and a homer. Langford with the windup and pitch to Charbonneau. And that's going to be a ground ball to first. Hit at Hargrove. He's got it. Goes to the bag himself, and there's 2 outs. Good job by Hargrove. 2 outs in the eighth. And here's Jason Thompson. He's doubled in the second for an RBI, walked in the fourth, and grounded out in the fifth. Langford with the windup and pitch to Thompson. This will be a ground ball to second. Garcia's got it, throws him out. We head to the ninth. 6-2 Rochester. We head to the ninth. Richmond, 2 runs on 4 hits, while Rochester, 6 runs on 6 hits and 1 error. I want to say thank you for those who've come in today and watching the game. Appreciate it. Please like, please subscribe if you haven't already. We'll try to see if this works. If everyone enjoys it, we'll come back with more, do some highlight reel stuff and stats, possibly too, when not playing the live games. So please encourage that. I want to get as many people to watch these videos. So again, let's go to the top of the night. Mike Norris looks to finish it here, looks to take his team to 1-0. Here is Bell, Jackson, McCray, right, left, right. So Bell is already 2 for 3. Hit a single in the fourth and launched a home run in the sixth. Norris looks in, and the sign pitch to Buddy Bell. That's a strikeout for Bell. 1 out in the ninth. So Mike Norris's 4th strikeout, 4 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Here's Reggie. 0 for 3. Not the matchup you want against Mike Norris. Norris with the windup and pitch to Reggie. And that's a deep fly to right field. Singleton is there, and that's why you don't put lefties against Mike Norris. Home run 1-2. Doesn't have much on that card versus lefties at all. Here's Mr. Trade Bait McRae, two flyouts to Granddad. He was traded earlier today to Syracuse for Steve Kemp. Both will fit nicely in their teams with a very even trade. McRae comes in now. He's 0 for 3 in the ball game, robbed of a home run on a play of the year candidate by Mr. Bobby Brown is back in the fourth inning. Norris looks in, gets the sign. Here's the pitch to McRae, and that's going to be a ground ball to short. Yeah, throws him out, and that is your ball game. So the Rochester Red Wings take the opener of the Strat International League 1980 version 6-2. Rochester 6 runs on 6 hits and 1 error. The Richmond Braves 2 runs on 4 hits. Let's take a look at our stat line. So the Braves go to 0-1, Red Wings 1-0. Norris wins it. It's gonna be a lot of that. He gets the lineups he wants. He will be very tough in this league. 9 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Langford 8 innings of work, 6 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned. He stayed in there, took the damage. 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. And he'll lose it 31,000 here at the stadium. 2 hours and 23 fake minutes. So not a bad place game. Home runs by Bell, Yount, and Charbonneau. RBIs by Bell, Yount, Charbonneau, Thompson. Nettles had 2 RBIs and Bobby Brown. Doubles, let's see, any extra bases. Doubles by UL Washington, Charbonneau, Thompson, and Nettles. For the Braves, Buddy Bell, 2 for 4, runs scored, and RBI. He was their main hit contributor. Joe Charbonneau, 2 for 4, 2 runs scored, and an RBI. We'll go ahead and give player of the game to Joe Charbonneau, 6 extra base hits, a double, and a homer. So big win for the Red Wings here on opening day. Well, folks, thank you so much. This has been an opening concept. Hope people like it. Please go ahead, please subscribe. Watch some of the video in the beginning. Have any questions, how the teams were made. Again, I did an AI automated draft list for the first 8 teams. Then they went the backwards. They went serpentine the way back, and also did when I did under the Stratomatic draft strategies. I went ahead and did an AI automated draft strategy. So they're drafting their balanced power, speed, pitching, and that kind of kept the odds there. And then we just did an automative 25-round draft. Could have done more, but there wasn't much more out there. 15 batters and 10 pitchers, 4-man rotations. I'm still looking for guys in free agency for some teams I'm not totally perfect with, but it's a pretty good concept. I got 6 in the room. Hello, everybody who decided to pop in from the outside, from the upper deck. Please like this video. Go back and watch it if you can. I appreciate it. Please like on your way out. Hit that little button on the turnstile. Always appreciated. Have a good night, everybody. Maybe we'll see you again a little bit later for more, depending what's going on the YouTube networks. And we'll see you again for another opening day matchup from the Stratomatic 1980 International League as we play back in the 1980s.